સ્વામી
સ્વામિનારાયણ સ્વામિનારાયણ
Swami Narayana, Swami Narayana, Swami Narayana, Swami Narayana, Swami Narayana, Swami
नमन हूँ करूँ विश्व पाड़ने, कर गरी कहूँ भक्ति बाड़ने, अर्ज माहरी पूर माधरो, विपति माहरी श्री हरि हरो, अवर याशरो माहरे नथी, सर्व जाणने शों कहूँ कथी, कठिन काळमा आप છો ધણી, સુખદ શામળા મુક્ત નામણી, अमर नापति आशता हरी, रसिक राखजो लाज माहरी, प्रणत पाड़शो सर्वना प्रभु, दीन दयाळ छो विश्वना विभो, विमल मूर्ति पूरमा वसो, नजर थी प्रभु दूर नाथ शो, अधिक त्रास ने तोड़ी नाखजो, नारायण दास ने पास राखजो, नारायण दास ने पास राखजो।
Jai Shri Swaminarayan Bhakto. Welcome to tonight's SSYM Friday session, brought to you from East London, the safest neighborhood in London. Now firstly, let me introduce who we have here today. To my left, we have Himesh, also known as Himalayas. Next we have Raj, also known as Rajendra. To my right, we have Anup, also known as Snoop. And next we have Dhyan Swarup Swami. So, and also, we also have Hari Krishna Maharaj with us today. So, today's topic is life is a roller coaster. Life has many ups and downs, as we all know. And in our low points, we all experience them in different ways, and we deal with them the best we know them, based on how we've been brought up, our social group, our friends, and many other factors. So we'll go through this today, several topics. Whilst we go through, remember one thing. Dev Krishna Swami once said that we all have all the skills that we need in our life. But it's all about how we utilize those skills. It's all about how we rewire and retweak that plug, which is how we live a good life. So let me set the scene. Today, we are in Thorpe Park, and we're going on a ride Nemesis, that big and scary one. So, we're on this ride, and we've been put here. We've been put there. We have a ticket. You give that ticket at the desk, and then you go through the barriers. You go through the barriers, but then there's a problem. You're greeted with a super long line. And there's a small sign in the corner that says this line is 3 hours long. There's a 3-hour wait for this line. So I'm going to ask the panelists, what are your emotions right now? What goes through your mind? You're on this line. You can't really take a step back really and turn around, because that's 50 quid gone. It's a waste. So what's going on through your mind? What do you need? What are the skills and qualities that you need for you to survive that 3-hour long wait, for you to go on this roller coaster you're super excited about?
Well, Sunil,
Sorry, correction. It's Sunil, S-A. Please get it right. Thank you.
sorry, my bad. Sunil. I think the first quality that you need is patience. Now, we've got to Thorpe Park. We're already here. There's no point. You've seen the 3-hour queue. You're not going to turn around, go your 2-hour drive back home. No one's going to do that. You want that thrill and excitement of the ride. And so that's the first quality I think we need. And patience is something that I think we've all experienced in our life one way or another, whether it's in our normal lives or whether it's in satsang. And the reason why we have patience is for happiness. We want something at the end, whether it's a job, happiness in satsang, happiness with your family, wherever it is, you're willing to have patience there.
Hello. So just what, as Himesh said, touched upon with the ride. Even though we haven't experienced the thrill and excitement of this so-called Nemesis ride, but if we see hundreds of people queuing up for this ride, there must be something there. There must be that sukh, or there must be that excitement for us to experience in that line. So, for example, the person in front of us is also waiting 3 hours, and the one in front of him, the one in front of him. So everyone's waiting there for a purpose. And so there must be some type of thrill and excitement for them to experience at the end of it. So as Himesh said, the patience is then needed. And also linking this back to satsang, for example, not many of us have experienced that sukh or the ultimate sukh of Maharaj or his murti yet. But we can appreciate just how we were waiting for that long queue or like that 3 hours just to get that 1 minute of sukh. For example, santos like Dhyan Swarup Swami, santos must have seen something in satsang for them to give up their whole life, right? So just how we wait for those 3 hours, like in satsang we might not be able to see Maharaj or get that sukh, but we know that it is ultimately going to be there. And santos and sant samagam also help us build that patience as well.
So, you talk about patience and the importance of it, but we all know this, that we need to be patient in life and wait for things. You get a job, wait and play the long run for that promotion. You want to get that promotion. It's not going to come the next day. But why are we rushing life? Why do we demand results? Is it we want instant results? We do something, we want something back. So why is that?
Good question, Sunil.
Sorry, again, Sunil. Come on.
Sorry, my bad.
Thank you.
It's a weird name. Sunil. So like you touched upon, every day in our lives we have enormous amounts of patience. For example, we'll spend 20, 25 years of our lives in education, through college, school, uni, wherever it is, and in pursuit of our dream job, knowing we may not get it at the end of the day. There is no guarantee that you're going to get that desired job, but we're still willing to put that patience, the graft in. But Swamis have always asked this, how come we're willing to do this in our normal lives, but not in satsang? In satsangs, we, for some reason, expect instant results. We expect not to go through the ride, go through the ups and downs, but then get all of the rewards through it. And we must remember, although Maharaj is Dayaru, he's not that Dayaru that he's going to give you everything just as you wish. Now imagine if all your wishes came true. Imagine everyone's wishes on this earth came through. What would the world be like? You're going to have bad wishes, you're going to have good wishes. And the whole point of satsang and having dharma and bhakti is so that your wishes are fulfilled. Whether it's now or in the future is up to Maharaj. And that's really important, where the patience really reaps its rewards at the end. And you'll see that in one way or another.
And also in satsang, so as we said, right, when we're working, we have to wait 30 days for us to get our salary or to get that money in the bank. So we have to be patient, right? And then after that quick deposit that we have after our monthly salary, and we then have to wait another 30 days again for the next one. So we have to have that patience. And we all understand and we all complain, oh yeah, we have to wait for next payday. But with satsang as well, we need to realize it's pretty much the same, right? And through this presentation, we're gonna be seeing this link as well. So within satsang, Maharaj isn't cheap, and we all know that, right? Maharaj is the most like highest level of sukh that we can get. So we need to realize just because we do puja one day or mara one day, we're not going to just get Maharaj. Not going to like Maharaj isn't free enough for him to give you your darshan, right?
So is it a case of so you're saying it's a case of understanding the true value of Maharaj, which in fact gives you that patience and gives you the vision to see longer term. The fact that accepting that, you have to wait to see the fruits of Maharaj. Similarly, you're on this roller coaster, you have to wait that line for you to go on this roller coaster that you're super excited about.
Yeah, I think just how we value money as well, right? We put such a high importance of money. That's why we're willing to wait for that. With Maharaj, he's as high, like if not higher than that. So in Shastra it says Maharaj, Rom na Roma kotik brahmand chair, right? So in the tip of like each hair follicle of Maharaj's murti, there's thousands of universes. So imagine how big Maharaj is. And I think sometimes we lack that when we come to Mandir, we do darshan of Maharaj. And that's it. We want him to move, or we want a flower to fall from his hand or something. But we need to realize we need to be a bit patient. We need to still get there.
And just adding on to what Anup said, કે મહારાજે વચનામૃતમાં કીધું કે અખંડ વૃત્તિ કઠણમાં કઠણ સાધન છે અને મોટામાં મોટી પ્રાપ્તિ છે. Achieving Bhagwan, that's the greatest achievement that one can achieve. So, because it's such a great achievement, it will obviously take a lot of patience. We're going to need to be patient about it. અને મહારાજે વચનામૃતમાં કીધું મધ્યનો 28મો કે હું થોડકમાં રાજી નથી થઈ જતો અને થોડકમાં કુરાજી પણ નથી થતો. So it just shows that આપણે ભગવાનને રાજી કરવા છે. To please Bhagwan, we do mada, we do bhajan bhakti, noda bhakti. So instantly we won't be able to please Bhagwan like that. Or we might not see the fruits of it. ભગવાન તત્કાળ દર્શન આપીને એમ નહીં કહે કે હું રાજી થયો તમારા ઉપર. So it will require a lot of patience. And we just need to keep on doing this sadhana, and ultimately ભગવાન એવી રીતે આપણા ઉપર રાજી થશે. જેમાં કીધું છે કે અનેક જન્મ સંસિદ્ધસ તતો યાતિ પરામ ગતિમ, કે અનેક જન્મો જન્મ જો આપણે સાધના કરતા રહેશું, if we keep on doing this penance and this sadhana for many lives, ultimately we will achieve Bhagwan. So it will definitely take a lot of patience.
Yeah, we're back. So, we as bhaktas, we have Hari Bhakta around us all the time. And, it's also a case of seeing and learning from other Hari Bhaktas. Sometimes if you look at it in the right way, they're glowing with happiness. And that's because they've been on this roller coaster and they've been at the ups and downs. They've experienced that. So, we could also take that from them and see, I need the patience to be at that level.
The other thing is, you're waiting around in this queue for 3 hours. As you get closer and closer to the roller coaster, you're going to see all these ups and downs that the people are experiencing, and this is when your nerves are going to kick in. So you'll start getting butterflies, and you'll start thinking, do I really want to do this? So you're on this path going up, down, and you've only just started. So you start questioning yourself, should I do this? Why am I doing this? What am I going to get out of this? But you're in this queue with your friends. They're the friends that you surrounded yourself with to move forward. So yes, you will be getting nerves, but at the same time, you'll be getting courage from those around you. And similarly, when you're in general life, you've started a new job, you're going to have, loads of nerves in the beginning, but you're going to have courage in the end as well, because you're in the office environment, everyone's working around you, and you've got that good association to progress forward in your work, similar to progressing in this line of the roller coaster. And when you think about it in a satsang way, you'll have nerves in the beginning, purely because you don't actually know what you're getting yourself into. Because normally it's a quick return you get, but in satsang you're in it for the long haul, and in the beginning you will be nervous. Oh, should I go mandir? Should I do this? Should I associate with that person with the tilak janlo? But because you've already surrounded yourself with the good association of other mandir haribhaktas, you will progress, and you'll get the courage from them to progress further, closer to what you're aiming for.
I just remembered Santo's Varagadi Keta hoy Santo ke if a person goes to commit suicide at a well ane ek vyakti hoy ke he wants to commit suicide and atmahatya karvi છે, but if he's surrounded with 10-15 people તો ઈ એને બચાવી લેશે ગમે એમ કરીને એને suicide કરવા નહીં દે. So it's about the association, like as you said, that you gave the example, they're all waiting in the queue, these people, and એકને ડર છે કે મને નથી જાઉં, but because he's surrounded with people that are looking forward to it, તો એની અસર એના ઉપર પડશે, એની હિંમત આવશે, so he'll get that courage. So it's the same with satsang. આપણે સત્સંગની અંદર આપણે, it depends on who we're surrounded by, who we associate with. સારા માણસો હશે તો we'll be able to walk this path of moksha.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And there's so many scenarios in life now. Even people that we consider bigger and better than us, for example, footballers, stars, and celebrities all over the world. Imagine you're a World Cup final and you've got the winning penalty to take. Imagine the nerves running through your veins. Imagine how nervous you are. You've got all those fans in the stadium. If you miss, the amount of disappointment. But they build up the courage, knowing that their fellow colleagues, the players, as well as the fans are all behind them. And as Swami said, your association. So I think a line that everyone knows, Jevo Sang, Evo Rang. And we've had a similar scenario from this stage, literally about a roller coaster where a Hari Bhakta, aka Snoop Dogg, he was at Thor Park one day. And we all went as boys from Mandir. And I'll let Anup touch upon that.
Anup, go on. Tell us your amazing story.
Okay, so as Himesh said, so all of us boys, I think we were all still quite young, and we all went to Thorpe Park, and I thought, okay, let's go. I mustered the courage to go, because back then I used to be quite scared of roller coasters. So we got there early, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to start going to small rides, the teacup and all of that, and then slowly work my way up. But what did the boys do? Let's go to the first ride, which was Stealth, right? And that one that goes all the way up and down. So I'm just going there, just talking to the boys to get my mind off of it, getting closer and closer, and I just can't see the top of the roller coaster anymore. So that, because we got there at the start, there was no queue, so we went there. And then we had some other younger Haribhaktas, younger than me, in fact, 5-6 years younger than me. And they went on the ride, and I was like, okay, so all the boys are there, and I'm thinking to just hold their bags and everything, yeah, just be that standard bag holder. And I was like, no. If all these younger Haribhaktas are going, I think I'm going to be like left out and all of that. So I mustered the courage somehow and just sat down. And I was like, okay, you know what? All the boys are with me on this ride. So if anything happens, we're all going to go down together. So I got strapped in, and then you can see all the the red lights flashing. And I was like, you know what? Whatever happens is going to happen now. I'm with all the boys. And then after that ride, I was buzzing to go on the other ones. So I think you just need to just dive into it. And ever since then, I just love roller coasters. But
Out of curiosity, I'm sure we're all willing to know, did you need a change of clothes after that ride?
We'll leave that amongst the boys who went there.
Okay.
But also touching upon what Swami said about good association. It's really quite important because when I was younger, I was questioning whether I should do Tilak Janlo or not. Santos always used to say, Tilak Janlo Karajo Tosaru. And then the classic excuse was, when we go to school, what people are going to say. And when you do Pratna to Maharaj always answers it in one way or another. And I saw one So I was in about year 10 or so, and I saw a year 7 kid. Never seen him before, and he has a massive tilak chanlo. And ever since that, when I saw him, right, I didn't even say hello to him, but once I saw him, I was, you know what, from today I'm going to start my tilak chanlo. If he has the courage and the guts to do tilak chanlo, I'm a lot older than him, I should have no excuse. So since then, I did it. So you just need that. You just need that person to just give you that one step ahead and that courage, and you do it. So, for example, when I was thinking about doing a chotli as well, I was scared. Didn't know many people in our mandir that was doing it, and then only from the advice of Sant, like I remember Balakrishna Swami saying, "Karjo saru thase." You just take that leap of faith, and I think your nerves just dissipate.
So just talking about association, association is very powerful. And just the other day I was reading the Vachnamrit, કે પૂર્વના સંસ્કાર આપણે જેને કહીએ કે આપણું જે પ્રારબ્ધ છે, the deeds that we've done in our previous lives, they are very powerful. Like in this day and age we see talented people. He'll be a 3-year-old child, but he'll be really amazing, he'll have such a good talent. તો એ બધું પૂર્વના સંસ્કારથી થાય છે. પણ મહારાજ એક વચનામૃતમાં કીધું કે દેશકાળાદિક એ એક પણ એટલા બળવાન છે કે પૂર્વના સંસ્કાર અતિ બળિયા હોય, and we are like really evil by birth. But if we were to associate with santos, તો એ પૂર્વના સંસ્કાર એ પણ ક્ષીણ થઈ જાય છે, એનું બળ ચાલતું નથી. પછી આપણે જેનો સંગ કરી, મોટા પુરુષનો સંગ કરે, ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ like પ્રહલાદજી ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ, કે એ આસુરી કુળની અંદર જન્મ્યા હતા. His surrounding was asuri, but because he associated with Naradji in his mother's womb, it changed everything. So this is the power of sang. આપણે જેનો સંગ કરશું એવા આપણે થવાના છે, and it's self-evident really. If you want to become true satsangis, we must surround ourselves with faithful satsangis.
Perfect, Swami. Well said. So now we know the importance of Jevo Sang, Jevo Rang, and your association, and how that uplifts you and gives you that courage. Whilst you're waiting on that line on the roller coaster, you're getting closer. You know that it's scary because that's what everyone says, and you hear the screams on the side. But now we're getting to the next stage. You have to start the roller coaster, and they give you a reminder again. What do they say? They say there's a sign, and it says rules and regulations. It says no phones allowed, no food and drinks allowed. And you know, if you have your phone out or you have a food and drink or something in your hand, you are not going to get let on that roller coaster. So you're definitely not going to try risk it. So, why is it that in satsang, when we have these rules and regulations, it doesn't have the same importance as other rules and regulations we follow?
So good point, Sanil.
Thank you.
Like you said, when we go to Thor Park, we're all willing to follow the rules instantly. As much as we want to Snapchat our ride on the roller coaster, as much as we want to put up on our Instagram story, we don't do it. Main reason, we know if one of the people around the roller coaster sees us, we're off the ride, and we're not going to have the fun with our mates, whatnot. Similar with the food and drink. We're not going to eat a whole lot of food beforehand, knowing that if we do, we're going to throw up on the roller coaster, and nobody wants that. Without following those rules, you're not going to enjoy the ride. And similarly to that, in satsang, if you don't follow the rules, you're not going to get the full rewards of that ride in satsang. So the ups, you're not going to get the full rewards. You're not going to see or experience that intense feeling of being with Maharaj if, for example, you're not following the Shiksha Patri. Remember, there's 212 different sloks in there, but not all of them apply to us. Maharaj has made it quite simple, to be fair, that there's only a few that we need to relate to our lives. The rest are for other people, acharyas, swamis, females, etc. Following the rules is really important, but we just struggle to do that in satsang. But the question is, why is that? Why do we struggle so much?
There's When you think about it in your general day-to-day life, you're going to work, you're in your car, and you're on the motorway says 70 miles an hour, yeah? You're not really following that. You're going to be going 80, majority will be going 80, 90, 100. You know, some people go 120. And
Speak for yourself, just in case the police are watching.
no police are watching. This is East London, the safest neighborhood. So you're in the car, you're going really fast, or you don't have your seatbelt on, you don't put your headlights on, your music is blaring really, really loudly. It's easy to break a rule, and it's easy to not follow a rule. That's one of the main reasons why we tend not to follow rules, because they're so easy to break. And you think yourself, oh, there's off. Yeah, so one of the other reasons is why you don't follow the rules is you think you're going to get a better experience. So you think instead of going 70, you're going to go 90, you're going to get a better experience because you're going faster. When you don't have your seatbelt on, you think you're going to get a better experience because you're more free to do what you want when you're driving. So coming back to why it's so hard to follow rules is because you think you're going to get a better experience, right?
Also, another thing, following on from Himesh and Raj's point, is when the analogy of a roller coaster, we're not allowed our phones. Everyone still tries taking that Snapchat with a video. But we all know that as soon as you take that one quick turn on the roller coaster, your phone's going to go flying. And everyone watches on You've Been Framed, there's always those people that are trying to take the roller coaster videos, and then the phone just goes flying. So everyone knows those consequences, and people take those risks, but majority of people don't have their phones out because they know they're going to lose their most expensive phone. So everyone can see that consequence, right? So when they break the rule, they can see the consequence straight away. But in satsang, people don't see that. And because they don't see the consequence straight away, they're thinking, oh, you know what? Dungri lasan kais to halse. Why? Because so many Dhoryas and everyone have Dungri lasan, and they're all living a happy life. They got a good house, and they're literally enjoying the world. But we also need to realize that Maharaj has given us these rules for a reason. And the reason is because we want to ultimately get to Maharaj's Dham. And I remember a few years back, Ram Swami came to our Mandir, and he just asked me, oh, did you do your mansi puja today? And he himself said that he forgot one of his mansi pujas. But when he was talking, he was really upset that he actually forgot one of his mansi pujas. And Swami was like, Swami just asked me, do you ever get upset when you forget one of your mansi pujas? And I said, honestly, sometimes I forget, but then I don't go back and do it. And he was like, we should have that feeling, I've missed my mansi puja, and I should be actually upset, because in that self, because Maharaj's agana was to do the 5 mansi pujas, and what happens is we are at times breaking all these small aganas that Maharaj has been giving us. But then we want Maharaj's darshan or Maharaj's murti. We're not going to get it, right? Just how we're not going to get our phone back when we've broken that rule on the roller coaster. We can't just be like, oh, where's my phone, right? So we can't then expect that either.
So everybody wants to become rich, right? But just imagine if you had 5 minutes with Bill Gates, and you could ask a question. We would just ask him, how did you become rich? And you only have 5 minutes with him, so all he'll tell you probably is do this and don't do this, right? But because we all want money, then we wouldn't question that. We would do exactly what he says. Similarly, in satsang, it does require faith, but we also know that there's many Hari Bhaktos that have achieved, Paramatma Darshan. They are experiencing Paramatma, Bhagwan. So if you really want that happiness of Bhagwan, then we would be following these rules and regulations. Now, when it comes to rules and regulations, everybody thinks, okay, oh, now there's rules and we have to obey them. But that's not the situation. આપણે જેમ પૈસાવાળું થવું છે અને બિલ ગેટ્સ કહે કે આટલું કરજો ને આટલું ન કરજો ઇઝ નોટ અ બર્ડન ટુ અસ. આપણે ખપેરા પૈસા એટલે આપણે એમ જ કરશું વિધાઉટ એની ક્વેશ્ચન. સો સિમિલરલી વી શુડન્ટ બી ક્વેશ્ચનિંગ ધીસ થિંગ્સ. હવે આપણે સીટ બેલ્ટ પહેરી રહ્યા તો તરત જ એક્સિડન્ટ નથી થઈ જવાનો, વર્ષે એકવાર કદાચ થવાનો છે, બટ સ્ટીલ ઇઝ એસેન્શિયલ that we fasten the seat belt. એમ ભગવાનની બધી આજ્ઞાઓ એવી છે કે અત્યારે ખબર ન પડે તાત્કાલિક, but it's for our well-being. And that's what dharma is. Dharma is to make us happy. It's not, dharma is very flexible as well. એટલો કડક પણ નથી. Every યુગ ધર્મ બદલે છે. And એ પ્રમાણે શાસ્ત્રો મળે. So સ્વામિનારાયણ ભગવાન, he gave us a શિક્ષાપત્રી. So it's very applicable in this modern day and age. So we must have faith at the end of the day, because we don't see the results quickly. Is all about having faith. કે આપણે આ ભગવાનની મૂર્તિ જોઈએ છે તો મારે આટલું કરવું પડશે.
I think it's important as well is that a lot of people sometimes may think that, our shastras may be outdated to what's in the Western culture, but Western culture is something that changes constantly. There's always a new trend. There's always something else. 10 years down the line, there'll be something else. But as Swami says, the importance and understanding the Mahima of rules and regulations, and it's there in order to protect us. Like Swami's analogy of a seatbelt, you wear it every day because you know you're going to get a fine if you don't. And also, it's not every day that you get an accident. It's not every day. It's once in a while. So, now we're strapped in and we're on the ride. But this is a slow bit. You're going up the belt to get up to 100 meters or whatever it is. And you're going up the belt. And, what's the feeling there? What's the feeling? You're going up the belt, you're close to the top, you're close to the peak. But what's that feeling? And how do you get there? What situation, what skills and qualities do you have in you to put yourself in that position?
Yeah, go for it, Raj.
So, obviously, you've already waited in the queue, and you've come closer. You've got your rules and regulations, also known as the Shikshapatri, under your belt. So, one of the main things that's going to keep you going is that training that you've got behind you. You've been trained to be patient. You've got the courage, also known as your friends, who've given you that courage to move forward. You've read the Shikshapatri, the Vachnamat, all the Shastras, and that's helping you, that's your training, and that's helping you go slowly up this roller coaster.
Also, you have that advice and that motivation from your guru as well. So in life, we have that role model. So that's why we're able to sit on this ride and we're slowly going up, because that guru has done this whole roller coaster. And this guru can be whoever. For example, if we're training to be a professional footballer, it would be Messi, or if we want to tackle world peace, it would be Mahatma Gandhi. So everyone has their guru in that sense to keep us going. And with that guru, we're able to go and take that peak, right? Otherwise, we might be peaking in the wrong direction. Because what happens is, if we imagine a brick wall, we want to get on top of that. And if we take a ladder and we go up, but we realize the ladder is not long enough, so we go all the way up, then come back down and choose another spot, get a bigger ladder. And this was happening, where we don't have the right equipment, but then that guru is the one who gives us that to then be able to go up.
Yeah, bang on there. And also, we're strapped into the ride. We've gone, let's say, we're close to the top. The one thing that kicks in is our faith. We may not think of it at the time, but we have massive faith in this roller coaster that the roller coaster is not going to collapse. We don't know the ins and outs of this roller coaster. We don't know the mechanics behind it. We don't know the mechanics behind what's holding us there, the seatbelt, the buckle, whatever it is. And so we don't realize, but we have a tremendous amount of faith in that roller coaster. And that's something that we may and may not have in satsang. And I think that's really important to also address that. In that ride, We always have faith. We just don't realize it. It's only when you realize afterwards that actually I've come off that roller coaster in one piece, not knowing what could have happened. There was no guarantee you were going to come back alive. There was no guarantee that roller coaster wasn't going to collapse. And so that's a massive thing as well, that you've prepared, you've put all that faith in, and that's it, you're going to come out of that ride one way or another.
It's the adrenaline rush that we strive for, isn't it? Is you forget the fact that you're putting your life into, you know, a couple of bolts, nuts and bolts, really. But you want that excitement, you want the buzz, but it's not the same level of faith and oomph that you have for, you know, your long up and down path of satsang. But you're happy to do it for a roller coaster. You know, you're going down. At any point, the seat will go out and out. You know, you see it's happened. There's been cases. You know, it's not every day, but it's once in a while. There are cases like that, but it doesn't stop us.
See, that's the thing, is like when you know it's a short-term excitement that you're going to get, like on a roller coaster, you've seen so many people do it. You've seen, you know, you've been waiting 3 hours in this queue, and you've seen, let's say, near enough 1,000 people go on and off this ride. And because they've already done it, you think, okay, they've done it, so they must have faith in this roller coaster, in these wheels, nuts, bolts, that's going to make you go up and down, and the turns and whatnot in the loop on the roller coaster. So because you've seen all of them, you automatically have the same amount of faith. You think, yeah, no, I'm just going to jump on this roller coaster, go up, down, and then I'll jump off. But you haven't seen who's made this roller coaster. Like, you don't know who made the seatbelt. You don't know where it came from. These wheels, you don't know which factory they were manufactured from. These tracks, you don't know which country it even came from. So similarly, in satsang, a lot of people, they do realize to an extent, okay, I'm following all these other satsangis, but then there's times where they've just put their faith in and they're following all the other satsangis on this roller coaster or on this path of satsang. So similarly to a roller coaster, you've put your faith in because you've seen other people do it in the beginning.
Yeah, to be honest, I get what you mean, but it's also, I disagree in terms of it's not completely blind faith as it is for a roller coaster. So in satsang, some say it's blind faith, that you're just hoping that a God exists. But we've also got things that show us that there is a satsang, or there is a Bhagwan. We've got shastras, we've got spiritual talks, we've even got things that proves like meditation. Forget Maharaj for one side at the moment, just how beneficial meditation alone is. We've seen it's not just Hindus that do it now. All people from all walks of life are now taking up meditation, how important it is, and they're seeing the fruits of this. And that all stemmed from Hinduism and from praying to something.
I heard Raj is going to do some yoga soon, some stretches.
Again, no, I'm already
Yeah.
doing it.
I think you might need it, mate.
Clearly you're doing
Hold
it.
it,
Clearly you're
bro.
doing it, yeah. Yeah, so as we were saying, as the panelists have said, you know, there's a whole world of information out there for us. Our shastras hold so much information, but we just say, yeah, Maharaj is here. You go your normal way of life. You come to Mandir, you do darshan. But it's, I mean, I'm sure it's myself as well. Is, you know, there's so much knowledge in scriptures that dates back a super long way. So many leelas that you may not know, but all of those things, you may not feel it at the time that it's important to know that knowledge is what keeps you in, and is what keeps that buzz going, isn't it? But a question I'll ask now is, you know, we talk about buzz and the excitement, but in satsang, why does that buzz fizz away? You get your high points, you know, how long do they last? Will they last forever? And does it fizz away? And if it does, why does that fizz away?
So, one of the reasons it can fizz away, correct me if I'm wrong, is your friends around you, let's say, yeah? essentially they dragged you into this roller coaster in the beginning, and you're reaching the top of the roller coaster just before the big drop, and now you're cursing the guy who actually got you into this, and you're thinking, you know what, that's a big drop, I'm still going higher and higher. So when you get to the top, or when you're reaching the top, you're cursing the guy next to you. Correct? It does happen, isn't it? Oh, Himesh, man, why did you make me go on this roller coaster, man? Look at this drop, man. Oh,
Don't be such a wuss.
you start saying all these things, though, no? Oh, I do anyway. And but that's what happens in satsang. You know, in the beginning there was so much buzz. There was loads of it. For instance, look at last year when we had the shibir. Was it last year? It was last year Easter, right? It was shibir. Yeah, it was last year shibir.
Well done, Raj. Well done. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yes.
Yes, it was right. It was last year, Raj.
Okay.
We're not that far ahead yet.
Oh, the next one's coming up, isn't
That's
it?
true. We're going to cancel 2020, don't we?
Yeah, so remember the shibir, yeah? We were all excited, innit? Yeah, we were on the M4 or the M62 or whatever the guys in Oldham used to come down to Wales.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are guys in Cardiff as well. So
It was around the corner for them.
yeah, around the corner
But
for them. Lucky for some, isn't it?
for some people,
The views of sheep at least.
That's a very hard insult, Hamish. Be careful.
no insults, Himish.
Be careful.
Bringing it back to my
Go on.
point.
Go on, Raj. We'll cut you off.
So we've taken the courage to, go on this coach to the shibir. Yeah, we're all buzzed up. We know we're going to have a good weekend with all the Hari Bhaktas around us. Yeah, but towards the end, you think, oh no, I'm going home. You feel sad. You feel lonely. You feel, everything. But in the back of your mind, you're still thinking that you will stay in touch with these people, but it doesn't really happen. You only keep in touch with, let's say, 40%, and then it kind of just fades away, and then your buzz fades away. Correct? So on a roller coaster, it's a similar sort of thing. You get into the top, your buzz is fizzing away. You're more nervous, your butterflies have kicked in, and obviously you've already started taking avgun of the guy next to you, and you're reaching a point where you're going to get to a point, and then you're not there on the drop, but you're getting there. So like in the Vajnamat, one of the Vajnamats, GP 78, if I can remember correctly, give or take one. It mentions if you take avgun of a sant, you're going to fall in satsang, right? And this is what's happening now. You've reached a point in your road of satsang, and you've taken avgun of the guy next to you, and your buzz that you had initially for this satsang trip, for this satsang roller coaster, is on its way down.
That's a good point, Raj. Also, another reason why our buzz fizzes away is lack of consistency. So we went to Shibir, we were doing everything. Santos gave us a lot of presentations, but have we actually set a time aside to go through those presentations again, have those discussions with Hari Bhaktos? And that's what happens. And even in Patotsav as well, we take the whole week off, and we do a lot of satsang, we get a buzz out of Utsav, but then after that it just goes back to normal. We eat, sleep, drink, and go back to sleep again, and we work, and we're just constantly in that cycle. And the analogy for that is we're all fireworks, right? So fireworks in the sense that we just go up and we just give off a lot of light straight away, and that firework display is done in 1 minute. And we need to strive to be that log of wood that slowly burns throughout the night and gives off that cool light. And we need to ensure the longevity of our satsang. So rather than having that big firework display and that those loads of colours, which is all good and well.
Yeah, it's good. It's good whilst you're doing it, isn't it? Because you're doing bhajan bhakti at the end of the day. It's not a bad thing, but I think it's a case of looking at the longer term.
Yeah.
You know, a month from now, that notebook you had in Shibir, is it coming out again?
Yeah.
Yeah, so talking about consistency of satsang, if we stop doing satsang, we are going to lose the buzz, right? Api શિબિરમાં ગયા and we pumped up. પછી પૂરું થઈ ગયું એટલે સત્સંગે ઘસાઈ ગયો. પણ વસ્તુ શું છે કે સંતો કહે કે નિષદિન સંત સમાગમ કીજે. We need to be doing it every single day satsang, because we need inspiration and we need motivation in doing satsang. And આપણે જેમ વધારે ને વધારે કરશું એમ આપણી શ્રદ્ધા પણ વધતી જશે. And when this shraddha, that keeps the buzz alive. Like for example, Sabri Mata શું કરતા હતા? એના ગુરુ કીધું, her guru told her that one day Bhagwan will come to your home. And from that day onwards, every single day, she would pluck thousands of flowers. Every single day, yeah? She'll pluck thousands of flowers and she'll decorate her entire pathway leading to her ashram. Every single day early in the morning, she will go, she'll pick berries and ચાખી ને જોશે કે મીઠા આવી ખાટા નથી આવી જતા ને, ને બધું ત્યાં રાખશે. When it's nightfall and she sees that Bhagwan hasn't come, બધું વીખી નાખે અને બીજે દિવસે ફરીવાર 1,000 flowers, thousands and thousands of flowers વળી પાથરે. So just imagine how much shraddha she had. She wasn't losing the buzz because she had that shraddha and vishwas, trust in her guru's words. So it's very important to also have a guru, like we talked about before. કે જો આપણે ગુરુ હોય અને સતત we interact with our guru and we seek guidance, he will give us guidance and inspiration, motivation. And shraddha hase, we won't lose that buzz. કાયમના માટે રહેશે.
Yeah, perfect piece of advice there, Swami, and I perfectly agree. I think in my personal experience, in hindsight now looking back at it, it's the same thing where I think we tend to look back more. Like there's nothing wrong with having memories and looking back, but we tend to do that more than looking forward. So for example, outside of Shibir, when I was in Shibir, there was that buzz, there was the atmosphere. Yes, that was also because of how many people were there, different people, but it was also, I should have at the time thought about how do I then continue this buzz going forward? How do I take away and then keep building on that? And I think that's something we can all take away, is just have an action plan. And I think that's something we tend not to do from our day-to-day big events such as utsavs, shibirs, etc.
It's a great example on this topic is, you know, you can have that buzz, but as long as that buzz keeps going, it doesn't need to be a low buzz, it can be a high buzz. You can have that shraddha in you. So it's not a case of you can't go max your satsang out. You shouldn't. It's a case that you should, but just also ensure that you can carry on going. Just don't stop. And you'll see yourself going higher and higher. In fact, there's always something to do, isn't there? To go extra. So back to our roller coaster. You're at the peak now. We're talking about shraddha. We're talking about buzz. You're at the peak. You have that buzz in you. And now it's the big drop. It's the big drop that no one really wants, or it's a big drop that you don't expect. When you're at the top of the roller coaster, you can't see what's below. You can't see that massive drop. And you also don't know how fast that drop comes. You don't know how fast you're going to go down. So, let's talk about the big drop in satsang.
So, when you're on a roller coaster, that big drop, 99% of the time is going to be the same for everyone. Sorry. 99% of the time you think, why did you get on this roller coaster? Yeah? Because that drop is scary. You know, you start regretting it. You feel as if you're no longer in control as you go down. So there's two things that you're going to do. You're either going to let yourself go, for example, stick your hands in the air, or you're going to hold on tight, but you're still going to feel as if your life's tumbling because you're no longer in control. So the thing is, like, when you do let yourself go, you're giving into this ride, and
There's a fly coming in our way, isn't there?
there's a fly.
He wants to
It's
join
on a
us
roller
now.
coaster
He
itself.
wants to join us. So we also have a flight today, Sabah. Go on, Himish.
So yeah, just as Raj explained in terms of that big drop. So for example, we're on stealth. That drop is massive, but you're that high up, you don't see the drop. You don't know. There's that on stealth. For example, it sits there for a few seconds. Now, being, for example, Anup, your first time when you went on stealth, I'm sure you didn't know when the drop was coming. And that's the scariest thing. None of us, same in our personal lives, we don't know when that drop's coming. Out of nowhere, it can hit us. A brick wall will just hit us, and our satsang, for whatever reason, drops, or we lose that faith. Anything can happen in our lives. You lose a loved one, you lose your job, anything. COVID-19, the amount of lives that's affected, anything that stops us, and that drop can just hit us. And how do we get over that?
I think what we were talking about before about good association, the gurus, having that patience, the courage, we need all of that, because when that drop comes, that's the time that we need to have all of these pillars in line. So for example, in COVID, none of us knew about all of this. For example, when we were at work, our employers never really was keen for us to work from home and everything, right? But all of a sudden, overnight, everyone now has to work from home. So if the IT systems were ready for us for them to facilitate us, they wouldn't have that. They wouldn't need to pump all of that money in for the short term. Same with satsang. Some Hari Bhaktas, which I've learned from, is they have like a resource bank. So when they have that drop, when you don't know you're having that drop, and it could be any day, for a short amount of time, a long amount of time, but they have a resource bank where they have their favorite kirtans, favorite kathas, or when santos do speeches, they crop some lines in there just to give them that boost back up, or certain of Maharaj's darshan. So we need to have that. So when this drop comes, we're minimizing that to some extent as well.
It's a case of losing sight, isn't it, as well, because you lose the bigger picture. Whilst you're at the top and you have that buzz, or you're going up, you have a massive picture of what you want to achieve, what your lakshya is, where you want to go, and you're focused on Maharaj's murti. You drop, and all of a sudden, that's super hard to concentrate on. And it's a case where that's where sort of Maya kicks in. Well, Maya is always around, but you sort of realize Maya more when you're at the bottom, because you just want to give up. That's when you realize Maya more, and you become more attached to it in that times.
So yeah, I mean, it's a case when, let's say, you're at work in your personal life. You've been given all these projects. You've been smashing all these projects out, and your boss keeps constantly giving you all this work, and you're excelling in your work life. And you're slowly progressing in your career, and then you know you're going to get a promotion soon. Yeah, that's why you're in this workplace. And then all of a sudden, your boss turns around and says, "No, I'm not giving you the promotion until next year." So what's going to happen is that's going to be like the point on the roller coaster where you drop, and in general, you're going to lose sight of things. You're going to be like, why am I doing this? What's in it for me? I mean, I was doing it for a promotion, but then I didn't get the promotion. So why am I doing this? So you, like Sunny said, you start losing sight of the bigger picture. Maya kicks in, and you think, okay, you know what? Forget this. I don't want to work here no more. And then you leave that workplace. You let's say you take up alcohol. You're in the pub every other day drinking because you feel as if there's, I don't want to do this no more. And that's like an exit strategy for yourself. So even though you've been in satsang for so long, it comes to a point where Maya will kick in. You will lose sight of the picture, and you'll just give into it because it's one of the viruses in satsang.
And also another point is that when we're up that high in satsang, that that we're enjoying life, and then we take avgun of someone, like of a Hari Bhakta, or even a Sant, that's where we drop instantly. There's no like slow drop, it's just an instant plummet down. And that's what we need to be careful of. Maharaj says that he'll forgive us if we take draw of him, or if we take the draw of his Hari Bhaktas, that's not going to be washed away. That's like Vrajra lepteya, right? It's etched in iron, so you won't be able to overcome that. So I think that's something, that's one of the causes of why we fall quite instantly as well. And it's so quick to take avgun. For example, if Sunil is walking in to Mandir or something and he's not doing darshan correctly, for example, or he's rushing to in darshan, and I just have that thought, I might not even say it out loud to someone, just having that thought, that is avgun, and whatever I've done in Mandir, if I've sat there singing kirtans or doing katha or something, that's all washed away, and everything else will be washed away. So it's so quick taking that, and then we need to now be prepared for that drop.
You start doubting yourself as well. You start doubting satsang. Is when you're at the low point, is when you start questioning. You know, why is this? Why is that? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do that? When you are at your high point, that didn't matter. That was fine. You were just, yes, that was the rules and regulations you were following. But it's only after, when you're at your low point, is when you start questioning, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? And you don't have that faith and trust that that's Maharaj's rules and regulations, and I have to follow that. You start questioning it.
It's true. And yeah, just to add on to that, we all know, so it may not be as a big drop as a roller coaster, but in our lives we're all going to have ups and downs. We've all experienced it already. But I think we spoke about it a couple of days ago in the Q&A session with Swamis, where they told us that the moment you lose that faith, you should always refer back to the point where you were high in satsang, and add to what Anup said, have that resource to go back to. So maybe when you're in high in satsang, take notes down of what led you there, what made you have that faith in Maharaj, because you may forget it down the line. And I think it's really important just to have that, so that you can always go back to say, I reached here for a certain reason and I need to now climb back up to that. And whenever you do lose that faith in Maharaj.
When you hit your rock bottom point, is it a case of, he's taking a step back and rebuilding your foundations essentially, because something dropped you. There was something in a roller coaster. There's a motor that puts you down. Yeah, you're being controlled by something. And sometimes it's inevitable that a drop is going to happen. We'll touch upon that as well. Is that these drops will happen, but there's one thing accepting it, and also at the same time looking back on it, taking a step back and looking, why did I go wrong, and start to rebuild your foundations. Because if you stay in that low point for too long, it's harder to get back up, isn't it?
Yeah, similar to a roller coaster. Your roller coaster doesn't just end out of nowhere. There's loops, there's ups and downs, and that's straight on it. So how do we get to so we've got to the bottom of that. Let's say you've hit that rock bottom of satsang. My question is then, how do we go back up?
So
one of the things that you tend to do is you take time to yourself. So I know a lot of people that when we were all younger, let's say 15 years ago-ish, we were, my age group, there was a big group, there was a good 30 of us in my age group, and we were all in the satsang road, satsang narasta all together. We used to come Mandir all the time, we used to take part in all the activities, and then as you progress through life, you'll hit all these obstacles. You start going uni, you start going work, you start hanging around with other friends. And this is kind of where you're kind of taking time off from work, taking time off from satsang in search of what do I really want from life? And what is it that you want from life? So when you're in the pub with your friends, let's say for instance, you're having a drink, and then the next day you're drunk, you're hungover, etc. And what happens then is you've wasted a day, you've wasted another day because you're still recovering from that little depression. But you'd with your friends, you'll automatically go out the next weekend. In satsang, it's obviously it's a longer time scale, so you might even take a longer time to come back into satsang.
Like your point on your friend group and people backing out, and you lose friends, don't you?
Yeah.
As you go in, even your satsang group and your Mandir group, and it's usually around the teenagers, because you're dropped in satsang essentially because not for everyone, but for most of us, we're brought up in satsangi families. Our mums, dads, people around us are satsangis, and you're sort of spoon-fed satsang at a young age. And your teen years is when you have to become a bit more independent. You have to learn yourself. You have to get on your own 2 feet. But that's when you start to back out. And it's a case of accepting dukh and sukh and understanding why that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, Maharaj said, "Ke sukh dukha ave sarve bheru tem rakh jo sthira mati jaris maharajanane vari karis jatanati." As Sunny said, right? Sukha dukha ave sarve bheru. So your sukh and your dukh will come together, and we need to keep a stable mind. So sthir mati is keeping that stable mind. And then Maharaj said, "Jarvi samara janane," right? So he'll help his own, right? Jarvis mara janane vari karisa jatanati. So he'll then help them and move them forward. So this only applies to Maharaj's Jan, right? So Maharaj is going to help those out that are that are following his rules and regulations. But Maharaj is showing us and explaining that sukh and dukh will come together. There's never going to be a time in our life get bus, right? Like everyone thinks we're gonna grow old, retire, pachape jalsa karsi. Maharaj says sukh dukha ave sarve bheru. So we always need to be prepared for that as well.
Yeah, so ultimately at the end of the day, as we say, life is a roller coaster. Satsang is part of life, and since life is a roller coaster, we are all on a roller coaster, whether it's grastas or even sadhus, right? Now, comparing our life and satsang to the roller coaster, in a roller coaster, there's everything. There's twists, turns, there's drops, pachi uchu chadvano. All of this is engineered very purposefully, very intentionally, because without those drops, without those turns and twists, there's no excitement. And that's what we've actually expected from a roller coaster ride. And ibadi uch nich badu chene, that's giving it the balance. Like khali sukha jhot and dukh hatoj nahi, so we wouldn't really know the mehima of sukh. We need all these things in life. Our jivan is just like a roller coaster. Baddu avse, sukh avse, kyarek dukh avse. There'll be situations where we're upset, safety, and then there's this peak moments where we might have really, really good experiences. Ochidano bhai avse. But ultimately is about accepting all of this. Just being in a neutral mind. Now, if you were to sit on a ride and you have certain expectations, okay, when there's a drop, I'll hold on tight, and rastam siddho hase, so no tension. So if you just let go of that mentality completely and just accept it, be very receptive. Okay, this is a roller coaster. I've come for it. So you'll be able to enjoy every single twist and turn. Similarly, in our life, we will face many challenges, but Vachanamritma and Shastramaji samjan didiye, the understanding that it's given. If we live that understanding, then we'll be able to go through any sort of challenge in our life, and ultimately living life will become heaven for us. So it's just about accepting and gaining a great understanding by reading our scriptures and staying in the right association with Santos, Haribhaktos, coming to Mandir and just constantly be doing satsang every single day. So that's everything in a nutshell.
Perfect. Well said, Swami. So, to sum it up, the roller coaster will have twists and turns and bumps and ups and downs, but and it will have spirals. But being accepting of the fact that you've put yourself in that journey to start with, and you'll have the sukh and dukh, and Maharaj will never give you dukh if there's not sukh after that. Always remember that. And as our Maharaj has our path planned out for us, and he's got dukh in there because he's got another path for sukh after that's connected to that. So you have to battle through the dukh and then force yourself into that sukh. So that sums it up all in all, and that was the life of a roller coaster. And I think that's all from us. So Jai Shri Swaminarayan.
Night mansi puja. Sit upright. Close your eyes and begin by contemplating that I am the Atma, the soul which is divine, eternal, blissful and separate to this body. I am aloof to the material and temporary world around me. My only relationship is with the Almighty Supreme, and I am His servant. I am in a congregation where He is revealing the deep essence of ultimate moksha to His faithful devotees. It is time for Maharaj's rest, so I come and stand before Him with my hands together. He sees me and so concludes the sabha, fearing everyone a good night. I take him to his bedroom, give him a glass of water. He lays down on a velvet-covered bed. Along with other brahmacharis and santos, we massage his body. As other devotees take leave, I am alone with Maharaj. I say to him, Maharaj, throughout the day, if I have wronged or displeased you in any way, please forgive me. Be so kind so that I may not make the same mistakes. Maharaj gives me advice of where I should improve, and in return, I promise to take heed. He places his lotus hands on my head, and I am blessed. I can see his sleepy eyes, and so I cover him with a soft velvet blanket he closes his eyes. I observe for a while his lustrous beauty and prostrate before him. I sleep on the floor next to him, ever ready to serve him. Thus ends the night mansi puja. अष्टकोणने ऊर्ध्वरेखा स्वस्तिक जाम्बू जववाला वज्रयंकुश केतुन पद्मा चमणे बगे नववाला त्रिकोण कड़शने गोपद सुंदर धनुषने मीनवाला अर्धचंद्रने व्योम सात छे डाबे पगे चिन्हवाला
स्वामी नारायण 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 स्वामी स्वामी नारायण 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 સ્વામિનારાયણ 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 સ્વામિનારાયણ